Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because it's about to go down. Hi, my name is Aura, and I'm here to give you this week's crypto astrology forecast for what's coming this week. But believe me, this week is just the beginning. It's going to get more intense later in the month. So things are going down. They're about to go down. Chuck Schumer is going down. The Democratic Party is going down, which I've been predicting for years and years. Like since 2017, I've been predicting this. So, hey, bye. Bye, Felicia. Those people, I grew up with them. They're nuts. They're insane. I literally went to like a big Democratic thing. This was like 2 decades ago. And I was shocked at how fanatically crazy these people were. I was like, I gotta get out of here. Now I'm not like a Republican either. I don't vote. I don't play that game because it's all a big lie. Anyway, of course, Trump is protecting someone's. We've got Epstein stuff coming out. It will be revealed. This stuff is coming out, even though Trump is protecting many someone's. Why? Why is he protecting people? He's protecting people for his own neck, for his own safety, for some whatever reason, for his own agenda. His family, the Trump family, has made $5 billion with a B, billion dollars since Trump has been in office. That's some cheddar right there. That's a lot of cash. $5 billion? Good Lord. I mean, how much is that a minute? Where do I sign up for that job? That's pretty profitable, right? Of course, not everyone can become president. You have to belong to the club. I'm not in the club. I don't want to be in the club. So, okay, what's going on this week? Let's take a look because it's about to get wild. Oh, by the way, silver is ready to shoot above 49 today. You think it'll make it today? I would bet good money, not silver, but dollars, which is not really good money, but I'd bet you cash that silver's going to hit 50 this week, right? Gold is over 39. It's on its way to 4,000. It could hit 4,000 today. Put your odds in the description box. How high a chance do you think it is that gold hits $4,000 today? Is it 50-50? Is it 70-30? 70% that it will hit? Or is it 20% chance it'll hit $4,000? I would give it about a 95% chance that gold's going to hit $4,000 today on Monday. And if it doesn't, midweek, right? By midweek, we're shooting above 4,000, heading all the way up. I think it might pause around 42.30, something like that, 42.32. But briefly, this run, it's not done. In fact, big things are coming. Oh my God, big. All right, let's look at the astrology. Let me give you a heads up on, and of course, Bitcoin is at new all-time highs and the stock market's at new all-time highs, but I don't play that stock market because they can take all your stocks on the stock market, and they will, because who wants your stocks? BlackRock? I mean, these guys want your money. This is the great taking. That's what this reset is. It's all about them gathering up all the resources and making everyone else slaves to them. That is why I have been out here trying to help people understand that crypto is the solution. Silver and gold are the solution. I don't have a lot of gold. I have a little bit. I have much more silver. Solution to the problem. Okay, let's look at the astrology. I'll give you a heads up. Oh, and of course we have a spaceship from outer space that they're calling 3i Atlas headed our way. This thing sent us a signal in the 70s. We got a signal. You think someone didn't know that it was coming? You think the government shutdowns are accidentally happening at the same time? This thing meets its perihelion, which is its closest point to the Earth, and that, there's something up, right? It's not acting like a comet. It's behaving like it can cloak itself. It's an intelligent vehicle. So yeah, I'll do another video about that, on what I got that actually is and what's going on. So make sure you're subscribed so you can get that goodness. So and by the way, things are going to happen that nobody can deny. Nobody will be able to deny that there is some sort of real intelligent, much more intelligent than us, life visiting. That's coming. That's coming. I've been talking to you guys all year about how contact is getting ready to happen. Okay. It's getting ready. It's going to happen, I believe, before the end of this year. Although I don't know exactly timing. I just know it's coming. All right. Let's look at the astrology because things are getting wild. The full moon is in Aries, right? With the sun in Libra. Full moon's always in opposition of the sun and moon. So we have that polarity of individuality, warrior energy, which is the Aries energy, and the Libra partnership balance energy, right? So things can get very out of balance as we head into a full moon. And full moons are famous for people going a little crazy also. Oh, hey, by the way, yesterday, October 5th, the 5th, was the 16th birthday of the date when Bitcoin was first used as money. This is not the chart I use when I'm looking at Bitcoin because Bitcoin hasn't become money yet, right? I'll start using it when Bitcoin is being accepted as a money. Right now it's a speculative investment, digital gold, whatever you want to call it. But the birthday of that, the 16th birthday, was on October 5th because it was October 5th, 2009, when Bitcoin was first used. I think it was like 10,000 Bitcoin were spent to buy a pizza. That whole story is a little odd, actually, but still, that's the date of Bitcoin as money. So we just had happy birthday to Bitcoin's 16th money birthday. And of course, its birthday for the white paper is later this month on October 31st. That's when the white paper was put out, and that was in 2008. So that will be the 17th year of Bitcoin existing as a concept since the white paper, which will be the end of this month. So is Bitcoin 16 or 17? Depends on whether you're looking at the birth of the concept, which was the white paper, the publishing of the idea, versus the use of it as money. At a certain point, the use of it as money is going to dominate the future of what Bitcoin is. So Bitcoin birthday. Happy birthday, Bitcoin. Happy birthday, Bitcoin owners. So there's a whole lot going on in this chart, right? This the chart for this week. So I did it for slightly after the actual full moon, but we have a lot going on. So let's first talk about Venus moving into a grand trine with Pluto and Uranus. That won't happen until the end of this week, into the weekend. Early next week. That is going to help us take sudden, quick, unexpected, transformative action. Something very crazy and unexpected is likely to happen. We have big events coming. And by the way, I told this to my members in our last call, which is that something about what's coming can't be known. It's like never happened before. It's like something we can't quantify. We wouldn't understand. It's like somebody trying to understand cell phones in medieval times, right? They'd be like, what? They wouldn't understand. So we have something coming that is like that. Like we're not going to be able to conceptualize it until we go through it, and then it's going to be wild. So something very, very wild. And I'm not saying it's going to happen this week, but could be this week, this month, could be October, or certainly before the end of this year. By the time the year ends, there is some sort of really wild energy shift that we're going to all experience. And the best I can get about what that is likely, what's happening, is that there's something going on the molecular level with us and the world. And so that's a frequency thing. So if you're at a high frequency, if you have done the inner transformative work of taking the lead and turning it into gold, like transforming the lower parts of your nature, the unpleasant things, and dealing with them, facing them, and turning them into positivity in your own life, then you're going to go up with this energy. That's why it's such a judgment, transformative, major energy. But if you are like the dark forces of the world, they're getting wrecked. I mean, wrecked. That's really the best I can describe it as. But let's go back to this. But what does happen with this full moon is Mercury moving into the square with Pluto. And we're seeing this with a lot of conflicting power play kind of words in the government and the government shutdown and all of that, which, I don't know. I don't know what your take on it is, but it's kind of ridiculous on a certain level because it's giving Trump more power to destroy all the Democratic programs. So you think, are they so dumb that they didn't realize that? I don't know. But I mean, I think they had some sort of strategy that they thought that they would be able to knock the legs out of Trump's ICE people because they're not getting paid. And so they thought that would put an end to that. And they're basically desperately clinging to the idea of paying for imported voters because they more or less know that they've lost the plot with the US population. So their only hope of them retaining any power is with imports. And that's not going to work out because it just isn't. They're about to collapse. Anyway, so there's that. And there's, that's sort of hitting more of a fever pitch, all of this sort of verbal push-pull kind of energy. This is like a final battle, right? The final countdown, like just the massive final like showdown. This is kind of what this looks like to me. And we also have, so Mercury is in not a bad aspect to Uranus, but in one that brings up a lot of sudden and unexpected, sort of words and information and news, right? Things are going to shock people that are sudden, that are coming out. And also we're seeing, protests around the world. I mean, you could basically say that France has fallen because the public is throwing Macron out. There's just rebellion in the streets. And of course, that's not the first time France has had a revolution, and any politician who's got half a brain and knows history should be a little afraid of the French population, since the history books tell us they executed their leaders last time they had a revolution. So you probably just want to get out of the way of that if you're in a position of power in France. Just saying, just a heads up, just a word to the wise. And also in about a week, Venus will make an opposition to Saturn. Aye, that's painful. That could be real hard on the financial system. So brace yourselves, brace yourselves, brace yourselves. Make sure you have cash, food, silver, things. Prepare for just in case there might be some issues with banking, okay? Could be really, really crazy. Could be pretty dramatic. So yeah, yikes, that's a lot. There's a lot happening, and that's just scratching the surface. There's really a lot going on. I spoke about other aspects of it in my, pro call, which twice a month I do calls for pro members, and then every week there's a VIP call, or VIP gets a call every week. They get the pro calls plus the VIP calls. So every week there's one for the VIPs in my membership, with targets and prices and timing. And the timing report for October is out on my site. It's in the members area, as well as the October channeled message, which is more about the contact alien thing. So there's a lot. There's over 60 channeled messages on the site about cryptocurrencies and all kinds of things. So let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart, which is just basically parabolic. It's just gone up. So here we are at a new all-time high today with Bitcoin at 125.5 basically. And this is, obviously nice for your portfolio, but also don't forget that Bitcoin goes up and now the money's moving into Ethereum. Ethereum has really, really shot up. So Bitcoin, can it still come back down to these lower levels at some point? Yes, it can. We can get a flash crash. This move up is pretty strong and definitive, and it is essentially a breakout. So at this point, we're not likely to get these levels before we go higher. Okay, so the likelihood of us continuing to get new all-time highs is high. It's really on the table now, even higher all-time highs, right? Next levels at higher points in this chart. So that's what I'm looking for, is higher levels. I'm not expecting, I do have windows of time where we can get drops. Those are more likely, in my opinion, to be flash crash territory. I don't expect much of an extended pullback or any sort of it's not even going to take probably weeks, just sort of like a flash crash and then boom, we're back again. There's shenanigans, there's manipulation, there's games being played by the insiders, and they would drop it so they could pick more up and then shoot it back up again. So there's a lot going on. And I said this in the last, weekly, which is that we can see up, down, up, down. Not so much with gold and silver, although they would take those off the market. And also stock markets are up, up, up as well. But I don't play the stock market because when that goes kaput, it's going kaput. It's not like you're going to be able to short it and get your money out of the market. No, it would get stuck. You wouldn't be able to get anything out of there. It would not be fun. So I wouldn't do it, right? I like to be able to have control over my own assets in my own hands because I don't trust them. Do you trust them? I don't trust them at all, not as far as I can throw them. So let's take a quick look at gold and silver. Actually, I want to look at Ethereum first. Let's look at that. So here we go. Let's just look at the leaderboard here. We're getting a nice green day. We had a couple red days over the weekend, and now it's green again. And we're going to keep shooting up here. And as you can see, Ethereum is really rocketing. It made a 13% move today. Bitcoin, here moved 10%. That's really a big move. But Ethereum, a lot of this money is bleeding into Ethereum, and then we're going to see big moves on the alts. BNB has really taken off. It's at $1,200. It's really gone ballistic. Solana is doing well. There's a lot of big moves here. Cardano is still behind the pack, but it's at 87 cents. But Cardano, it has a long way to go still, so it might still be a good bargain. But there's lots of coins here that are doing big moves, right, as you can see. So let's take a look at who are some of the biggest movers. If we look at it on the 7-day, it's Zcash went up 135%. This coin is really weird. I had something specific to say about it in the member call. A few days ago. This coin is really, really weird. That's all I can say. But a lot of these are not coins I would want. Pancake, that's okay. But BNB, obviously, again, this isn't like a favorite, but it has made a big move, right? So we're seeing a lot of big moves right now, not necessarily on the best coins. Doge is continuing to move, which is also not a best coin. It's not a bad coin, but it's not one of the best. But still, Ethereum is up here high on the list. So is Litecoin. So is Solana. Those are solid. Those are real coins that you can count on. And so that's my take on what's moving right now. So, and also I will say something about Zcash because it's a privacy coin. Here's the thing about a privacy coin, right? So generally people buy these coins, every coin, because you want to speculate or you want to make money, you want the price, you want the number to go up, right? You want it to go up in US dollars, the fiat currency, which is worthless, but that's not the point. The point here is that when you're buying a privacy coin, that should not be why you're buying it. Okay, you should not be buying it just for the number to go up. You should be buying it because you can use it, because there's a way for you to, conduct business in some way, shape, or form, buy eggs or whatever, clothing or whatever you need, okay? And for that purpose, Zcash is pretty useless, okay? Unless you're sort of a deep cabal member, it does have a very specific use that it's already being used at. I cannot say that here. I cannot say that. I did say it in my call. But it's already being used in some pretty nefarious ways. So unless you're one of those people and you're using it for nefarious things, then it has no use. But there are others that you can use and that's why you would want a privacy coin. And I talked about all of that on the pro call. So anyway, let's look at gold and silver. Hey, here is silver at 48.66. And I keep checking it, and it's always going up a few more pennies all day long. And there's nothing pausing it. I mean, it's just going up. That's what's happening with silver. And then, of course, gold. Let's see how close it is to 4,000, sorry. It's 39.52. Again, this is also going up a few dollars every few minutes. So, things are pushing forward in the right direction with gold and silver. So put your bets in the description box below. Let me know when you think gold's going to hit 4,000, when you think silver's going to hit 50. Will one of them happen today? Will both of them happen today? Will they happen tomorrow, Wednesday, Friday, 4 months from now? When do you think it's going to happen? I would say sooner than later. That's my take. Oh, and just a few more touches upon what's going on in the news. Housing is like cooked. Like certain parts of the country's housing market are already having a crash, like a crash as big as 2008. That would be Florida and Texas primarily, but other big highly overpriced housing markets are starting to feel the pressure, like Colorado and California. And I don't know about New York, because New York has certainly New York City has such a limited space, but things are going a little wild in the housing market. Oh, and cars. Remember, I did a forecast. I don't think it was this year. I think it was 2024, the yearly forecast. I talked about Carmageddon and Airbnb bust. Airbnb bust being a metaphor for the broader collapse of the housing market that was coming, and Carmageddon being cars going completely kaput in terms of a car market. Well, that's what's happening. I mean, they're basically hiding the numbers. Everyone's hiding the numbers. No one wants to admit, because the banks all are carrying a huge, massive, toxic load of debt, and they don't want to admit that, because then they're bankrupt. So yeah, I told you last week, October goes bang, boom, whatever I said. It's happening right now. These are the things that are happening. So please make sure you're prepared for all of it. And having said that, that is my report for the week. I will come back at you a little later this week with a 3-Eye Atlas video. And also I have an interview that I'm going to be publishing. So make sure you're subscribed. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.